Well, howdy YouTube, Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. It's time for another video at Unky Joe's Playhouse, and today we're going to do a video on what I like to call the bastard of the home theater world, because you don't hear a lot about it. There's not a lot of videos out there on it. There's not a lot of chatter about it. Well, I guess there is, but in the circles I roam in, you don't hear that much about it. I hear about it in passing, and what I'm talking about is the Emby Media Server, EMBY. And we're going to talk today about, we're going to go over the features of it, and I'm going to show you my setup, and I'm going to tell you why I pretty much like it better than Plex. There we go. So if you want to skip forward to the end of the video, that's all you need to know. I prefer Emby to Plex, and I'm going to go over some of the reasons why. Doesn't mean Plex isn't still usable, but Plex has made some changes recently that I haven't been too happy with, and if you don't know what you're doing, it's hard to access Plex if the internet goes offline, that kind of thing. So I'll talk about those in the video, but that's what the video is about today, so let's get started. So the best place to start will be on the Emby website. Now, neither Plex nor Emby are open source anymore. They're both commercial programs, so for those of you concerned about privacy, you're not going to have any privacy with either one of these applications. We know that Plex collects your data. I'm sure that Emby does too, but welcome to the internet in 2019. I mean, it's just the way it is. Even with paid apps, they're going to collect your data and try to resell it and have other people say that's just the way the world works. So as long as you can get past that and be comfortable with it, then you'll be fine. So I don't want this to turn into a video where Emby is more secure, Emby doesn't share. No, we're not going to get into that battle. Just suffice it to say they're both going to share your data. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. So Emby is just like Plex. You can access your Emby content from outside your network. You can have live TV. You can it has great parental controls. You can manage your media. There are even remote control. There are even apps you can log on or add on to Emby that give you home automation and so forth. Now, I haven't gotten into that. Maybe that's something we'll do in the future, but right now I just want to go over the features of Emby. So if we go over the features built in, you can read them right here on the website. I have to say that I like the way Emby handles. Emby has a dashboard, whereas Plex, you would have to open multiple sessions in Plex to view a video and then to monitor what's going on. Emby has its own little dashboard, and I'll show you that. Parental controls, DLNA, manage your media, just like you do in Plex. You have live TV, and you have a really neat feature of live TV is multiple guide support. That's something Plex does not have right now. It'll play pretty much on any device, Roku, Chromecast, NVIDIA Shield, smart TVs, as long as you can download the Emby app. It has Cloud Sync. It has Chromecast built in. You can control content for your children, so you can limit them to certain videos or certain ratings of videos with parental controls. You can, let's see, mobile sync if you're interested in that. You can organize your content just like you can with Plex, manage your media. Let's see, cloud sync, etc. And you can see down here some of the screens of the apps. And you can customize the user interface. So nice little powerful program. Very similar to all the features you get with Plex. And just like a Plex Pass, Emby has what they call Emby Premier. And currently I'm on the monthly plan. I'm going to go ahead and go to a yearly plan. It's just a little bit cheaper that way. They allow you to pay with a credit card or with PayPal, so it makes it really easy. Or you can pay a lifetime membership of $119. And there you go. Those are the prices. So if you come down here to the features, you get offline media, allows you to download your media to your smartphones. You get the Emby DVR, It's a pretty damn good DVR program. We'll do a deep dive on that, but not in this video. But I will show you the basics of it. You get a bunch of free apps, so you enjoy full access to Emby for Android, Fire TV, iOS, Xbox One, PS4. You have a cloud sync capability, cinema mode, so for those of you that are true home theater enthusiasts, you can have the trailers and custom intros if you have a theater like I do, or a large screen to put it on. Cover art plugin. It creates fun covers and other treatments for your media images if you're so inclined. The Emby Theater, which is the latest and greatest Emby app for your TV. It runs on Windows, Xbox One, PS4, Chrome, Firefox, and Microsoft Edge. It's similar to the Plex media player. So if you don't want to run Plex through your browser, or I'm sorry, you don't want to run Emby through a browser, but you want to have an app for it, they have one. It'll go out and automatically convert content for you. You have folder synchronization, backup and restore. You can view podcasts, and you have smart home control. So if you have an Amazon Echo or Google Home device, you can control your Emby app by voice. Just say Alexa or Hey Google. Oh, by the way, I probably shouldn't have said that. And then you tell Emby to play the next episode of Game of Thrones. Sit back and enjoy. That's an idea. Now, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and go to the feature matrix. So this will give you an idea of what is free and what is paid for. And you'll see that it behooves you to have Emby Premiere for $5 a month or $4 a month, whatever it is. I think it's well worth the money. And I've only been using Emby for about a month now. I like to eat my own dog food, like I've told you. So that's why I've been testing it. But so far, I'm very happy with it, and I'm about ready. We've already made the switch in my home. We are not using Plex anymore. We are using Emby. Now, let's just be clear. In this video, I'm not going to show you how to install it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Right now, I have 2 installs of Emby. One of them that I have up and running is on my Xpenology NAS. Not my Synology, but my Xpenology. And they actually make a version of Emby that you can install that is specifically built for Xpenology. If you go to Emby and go to their forums, there's a forum they have on Synology and Xpenology NASs. So they have designed a special build. So the reason they've done this is on Synology, for example, you have a set processor in there, right? Like the DS918 has the Intel Celeron processor in there. But my Xpenology NAS has an actual i3 processor, quad-core, has a bit more RAM, etc. And what the Xpenology version of Emby does is it takes advantage if you have an onboard video decoder on there, that kind of thing. It also takes full advantage of the true processor speed of the CPU you have in your Xpenology NAS. So, even though it's not directly supported, they do support it. So go out and check out the Emby forums under the Synology forum, and if I remember, I'll put a link down below so you can go check it out. But that is the installer I used for Xpenology, was the one written specifically for Xpenology NASs. And so far I've had, knock on wood, I've had 0 trouble with it. And I am running, as you can see here, version 3.5.3.0. So this screen here is called the Emby dashboard, and it gives you some information, your recent activity, latest news, your paths, devices that are active. If any recordings are happening, it'll show you up here. You can also restart and shut down the server right from this interface, and it gives you a link to go to log into the web interface for Emby if you are so inclined. Settings, so you set it up for where you're at. I have enabled anonymous usage reporting, so you see that Emby does ask you here whether it has your permission to collect your anonymous usage reporting, and you can click on learn more and get more information on that. If you had a custom cache path for images and so forth, you can have that as well. And on this one, it says allow the server to restart automatically to apply updates. You can have that checked if you want to or not. Login disclaimer, that'll be displayed at the bottom of the login page. And then any custom CSS scripts you have, you can add to the web interface. You can set up users. Again, I'm just going to go over these settings. I'm not going to go into a deep dive and show you how to set them all up. I'm not going to show you Emby Premiere because that has my license code in there, but that is where you would put it. And then my library is here, so I have all of my libraries just like I do under Plex. But that's basically where you manage your library. You can also come in and click on Manage Library and have more options down here. Again, not a deep dive. Playback, you can change some of the playback settings. You have control over your transcoding. Right now everything is in beta or experimental, so I don't have any hardware acceleration turned on, but the word out on the street is that they are going to have that soon in version 3.6. You can set your encoding preset, your encoding CRF, constant rate factor. They do use FFmpeg to do encoding and decoding of the video, so be aware of that. Cinema mode, you can turn that on for movies or for episodes, and you can even go out and have it download trailers from the internet. That's a nice little feature. If you happen to have ripped a video without subtitles, you can use the open subtitles system, get an account, and then you could have subtitles for your videos. Devices are all the devices that have connected to my Emby unit over the last few days or weeks. Camera upload, so I could upload photos taken from a mobile device. DLNA, you can turn that on or turn it off. I've left it alone. Live TV I'm not going to cover yet. We'll come back to that. Advanced settings, so you can change the port number you're on. You have access to your log files here. Notifications, you can turn them on and off and edit them. Any plugins that you might have, like Cinema Mode, IMVDB, it's for the Internet Music Video Database, ISO Mounter for Emby Server, and Open Subtitles. Then you have Scheduled Tasks, and Metadata Manager, which could get right here. Again, not familiar enough with it to tell you what all it does, but you can edit your metadata for each one of your folders. And come back to the dashboard. So the other nice thing about this dashboard is if somebody starts playing a video or you start recording something, you will have information pop up on the screen. Alright, so this will give you a little bit better understanding of how the dashboard functions when you have actual stuff going on in Emby. So right now you can see that it's recording two different shows, one A Letter to Three Wives and the other Billy Madison. And I'm also direct, if you look down here, I'm direct playing a video on Emby Theater on my machine, MCS-001. And if we go over to the Exponology NAS, you'll see that the Emby server is actually using about 3 to 4% CPU usage, and most of that is just direct streaming and recording. So it's not very impactful even when you're doing a couple of simultaneous recordings. Now granted, these aren't high def and they're not in full high def because they're coming off of IPTV through Silicon Dust Premiere. I've got a subscription with them for, I think it's $34.95 a month, and you get a bunch of cable or satellite channels, and it works with their HD home run series of devices. So even though I'm playing a video here, and this is off of local TV off the antenna, and you can, if I bring up Emby Theater, let you see that. So if I bring up Emby Theater, you can see I'm looking at KLRN, I'm looking at a program called Foxtails. We'll switch back to that because we don't want to get a copyright flag, even though it's fair use. But anyway, so this tells you what I've been doing earlier today. I was watching SpongeBob SquarePants and watched a couple episodes of that with dinner, and then came in here and now we've got some videos recording and watching a live TV show. So the one add-on I did not talk about, and I'm just going to throw in here toward the end of the video, is this is what I'm using in addition to my over-the-air antenna, and I get about 25 or 30 local channels. I've also joined HD Home Run Premium TV. And with this, I am able to get all of these channels you see here. Paramount, ESPN, Nat Geo, Nat Geo, FX, TNT, Sci-Fi. You know, all the main channels, pretty much all the main channels you would want, with the exception of a few. And it even has ESPN, which I don't personally. I'm not a sports person except for basketball, so it doesn't really matter to me. But as you can see, you get a lot of bang for your buck, and you don't need Emby to use this service. If you have a Roku or this will play on mostly any device, but and they have 2 time zones. They have an East Coast and a West Coast. But this is an idea of the channels you get, and it's you can have it on, I think, up to 4 simultaneous connections. Anyway, go visit the website. It's right up here at the top, silicondust.com, Premium TV, $34.95 a month. No, they are not a sponsor of this video. I eat my own dog food here, and I don't expect it to be paid for. But Plex will, it'll work with Plex, Emby, Insta TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. I mean, it works with just about anything that's out there. And I know YouTube TV has pretty much the same thing for about $42 a month. It has a few more channels, but the problem is it doesn't work with the tuners. It's not integrated, so therefore you can't integrate it into Emby or into Plex, and that's a deal killer for me. So, but anyway, I just wanted you to know this is what I am using when you see those additional channels in the video. Alright, so I'm going to show you now what the default web interface looks like on Emby if you just log into it. So, and you can customize this view somewhat. You can either come all the way down to the bottom. I think there's an option down here, if I scroll all the way down, to customize the home screen, or you can just come up here to this icon here, and you have the same option to be able to customize your home screen. I'm not going to go into any detail, but a lot of people just create a folder called Movies, but I like to organize them based on, you know, the genre. So that's how I've chose to do mine here. But you could just create a folder called Movies. You know, do it. You can do it any way you want to. And then Live TV has its own folder. I've got music videos and then recordings. So that shows that are being recorded or have been recorded will appear here. As you can see, those that are being recorded will have a little status indicator down below on them in red. Those that are done recording, you'd just be able to play them. And, you know, if I go into my action adventure, you'll see that I've got all of my folder art, etc. If I were to click on a video, it should give me a synopsis. And one thing I really like is it gives you the cast and crew down here. So if you want to know about any one of these people, you just click on it. It'll give you a little information on them, a Wikipedia article. And if they're dead, it'll tell you what year they died. So we know Alan Rickman is passed on, so you see they put his date of death on here as well. That's unfortunate. He was such a good actor. And I didn't know his middle name was Sidney Patrick. That's pretty cool. Nice name. Anyway, it gives you the synopsis. So, and then you can go out and you can modify all this stuff. You can edit it if it's got the wrong cover art, if it's got the wrong description. Again, I'm not going to cover that in this video. We're just doing an overview of the interface. So we'll come back. And then you've got a continue watching screen down here. And then Live TV, you go to by programs, guide, recordings, or schedule. So if I go by programs, it goes and shows me what's on now with the artwork. What movies are on, what sports are on, whether kids, news shows, whatever. Go back. And then the guide, I really like the guide on here. It's a nice guide. What can I say? Here's the deal though. If I click on this, it'll bring up the information on it. I like that. I really like that feature, that it brings me up information and then gives me an option to play. If I do the same thing under Emby Theater, let me bring that up here real quick. If I do the same thing with Emby Theater and go to Guide, and I go to, say, click on The Avengers, it launches the show automatically. I don't want it to launch the show. What I want to do is get information on it. Right-clicking it has no effect. And I don't know if this is a setting that I can change, but just be aware that on the Emby Theater, it's going to tune right to the channel. It's going to take you right into the program. And I believe it's the same way when you're on the Roku. If you go to highlight it, in other words, if I click on it, it gives me a synopsis and then asks me if I want to play or record it. So I like that feature, but for whatever reason on Emby Theater, it goes right into the program, so you may not, that may not be very pleasing to you. And you'll notice I have all my local channels are 4 through 60. So I've got all these local channels and then the sideband channels on top of those. Some of these stations are so new they don't have guide data for them. Now keep in mind also the guide data is a separate piece of software I'll cover in another video, but it is not included like it is with Plex in your Plex Pass. So right now the next version that's coming out, 3.6, they tell us that they will have guide data built into it, but right now I am using a Schedules Direct, and I'm paying $2 or $3 a month for that, for those schedules. So be aware of that. And as we go into the in-depth video on Emby and how to set it up, I will cover that information, how to get multiple guide data from different sources. Something you can't do. Well, you can do it in Plex, but it's not as easy as it is in Emby. And you'll see right here, I've got both my local channels and I have my premium service from Silicon Dust. I have all the channels they offer, and they have their own guide data. So if I were to click on them, I get the synopsis of the information, record or play it, just like my local stations, and all that's native to Schedules Direct, I should say. It's not native, it is an add-on, so just be aware of that. It also tracks my music, so I've got a bunch of music out there. It's got my latest music, the stuff I've recently played, it gets the album art, etc. I can go by albums, I can go by artists, I could go by playlists, I can create playlists, I could go by songs, I could go by genre, and again, so I could go out and see everything that I've got for share. Well, I've got Share Believe, and then it tells me more I have. Yes, I like Cher. I also like Elton John. But I don't have all the songs on that album, as you can see. Because I don't need to, because I have the Diamonds disc. See how deep the rabbit hole goes with music? I really like their interface for music. It's quite nice. However, I will tell you on the Roku, I was playing with it today, and I'm not that fond of the interface for music on the Roku. I tend to like the Plex, or I used to like the Plex interface for music better. And then my music videos that I have on here, and it just kind of puts them all in order. It's not going to get any of the art work except for those that I already have artwork for. So, but it does see all my content. It's gotten all my TV episodes. So I'm basically using the same library on my Xpenology NAS with Emby as I am with Plex. They're the exact same location, drive letter, and everything. But they can be used both on Plex and by Emby. Now, where I might give Plex the slight edge on this is, I wouldn't even give Plex the edge on that. It was fairly quick to scan all my artwork, go out and find the correct artwork, and just from a I didn't do a test on this, but just from observation, it probably has about the same hit and miss rate that Plex does when identifying your content. Again, it all depends on how you've labeled your content, how you have it organized into folders, as to how well Plex and or Emby will match the data and get the album or get the artwork correct for you. So just be aware of that. But there you go. There's a basic look at the Emby. At the Emby dashboard, which is a separate web program. and then your actual web interface as opposed to the Emby Theater interface. So now we're at the Emby Theater interface. It's very similar to the Plex media player, and I can just using my arrow keys here, I can scroll up and down, so I can go to my guide, recordings, schedule, on now, next up. And if I go over to my music, you remember one of my complaints was the interface for music on the Roku wasn't that great. But on here it's pretty darn good. So if I go down albums, I can go into the individual album. I can select one of these items. If I right click on it, I can do an instant mix, or I can add it to a playlist. Let's see, yeah, add to a playlist, and then it'll prompt me for a name of the playlist, and then I can add it to it. So yeah, it's got a lot of nice features. So that's the music part of the interface, and here's just the general interface with Emby. I like it. It's quick. It's very quick. You see how fast it is to respond. And actually what I could try to do is bring up a video, and we'll just make sure it's muted. Yes, it is. And you see it comes up and plays. I've even got my subtitles working. Let's go ahead and get out of that. And I do like that you have quite a few here. You could add to a collection. You can even add videos to a playlist. You could go out and convert it. When I was telling you could convert your videos just like in Plex, they call it optimizing. You can do the same thing here. You can choose where you want to keep the media and convert it to, and what profile you want to use and what quality, and then bing, bang, boom, you click on convert and it's done. Well, it's not done. It takes some time to convert, but you get the idea. So I like the Emby Media Center interface. It's nice. It's fast. It gets out of the way and it lets you do what you want to do. So as you can see, you've got a plethora of options. You can come up to keep the dashboard up and running, so you can see what's going on. And I'm just going to go ahead and launch I'm going to go ahead and let that play, just so it'll have something running in the background. And pardon me, I've got to mute the volume here. There we go. So now, as you can see, it's updated here and shows it's direct playing. So you can see I've got my recordings going on. I've got some stuff direct playing. And I can go back to this web interface here and do whatever I needed to. Here's the impact on my server. I had to log out for just a minute, so let's bring up Resource Monitor. Now, I've just started playing an MPEG-2 video, but it's direct playing it, so it's not going to have any impact on the Emby server service. However, I will tell you, as you know, I rip my videos directly from DVD to an MPEG-2 format in a MKV container. And then when they come into Emby, they have to be transcoded to convert them to H.264. And you'll see that the Emby server, when I'm having to transcode for the Roku, will come up to 40 or 50% CPU usage. It'll stay that way for 20, 30 minutes, and then you'll see the CPU usage come back down in the 3 to 2.5% range. So I don't know why that is. Maybe it's pre-encoding it and then it buffers it. I don't know why it uses so much CPU up front and then trails off the longer you watch the video, but that's what I've observed while it's working. And here we are back at the dashboard. Well, there you go. So that's the Emby server, the Emby interface, the dashboard, the Emby media player. That's it in a nutshell. And I'm impressed. And what I like to do is I like to load the software and get familiar with it, especially on all the devices, including computers and tablets, just to see how it does. And then I want to make like a series of videos off it. So that's what this is going to be. So I'll show you in the next series how to tweak some of the settings in Emby and how to get your live TV set up, how I've got it set up, how to get your guide data, all that kind of stuff I'll do in the next video. But this one I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of how the interface worked, what it looked like, so you compare it to Plex. Now, you're probably wondering what has motivated me to look at Emby. Well, The main thing that motivated me is I had a subscriber tell me when I was doing a video related to Plex. He said, "Hey, have you tried Emby Media Server?" And I said, "No, I know I had heard of it once or twice before, but I had never played with it." And then I went out and, like any good YouTuber, and searched for videos on it, and realized that there weren't a whole lot of videos out there on Emby on how to set it up or how to configure it, and how to make it work with all the stuff it has. And I've just scratched the surface, mind you, but I got it up and running fairly trivially. So I'll share that with you, like I said, in the next video, and how to set up your live TV guide. I had to wait for a couple of devices to come in, for some product to come in, so I could hook all this together and make it work. So be on the lookout for that. The next video coming up on Emby. It should have it up within a week or two, maybe sooner. We'll just see how things go. The other thing that motivated me to look at Emby is the fact that I have not been happy probably with the last 2 or 3 releases of Plex. It seems to have gotten slower. They've completely changed the interface on it, which is fine. You either grow or die, right? And I don't have to upgrade my Plex every time they put out an update, but because I do videos on it, I feel compelled to have the latest and greatest, eat your own dog food kind of thing. So, man, me and my spouse were both turned off immediately by the new Plex interface. And I know nobody wants to learn anything new, but the familiar ways of doing things that we were used to were gone. And I mean, it just was totally different, just to get into your movies and whatnot. Not to mention the fact that I still can't find the damn guide, the program guide on the new version of Plex. Now, I will eventually. I just, when they change something like that and you're used to doing muscle memory, you're used to doing it a certain way, and they change it completely, it pisses you off, and you don't want to learn the new way of doing it because the old way worked fine. Well, evidently, more people than I thought that was an issue, and that's why they changed it. So I can't really bash Plex about that, and that's not what this video is about. But this is what turned me off of Plex and on to Emby. Now, Emby's going to do the same thing. They're going to change the interface. So what I'm going to do moving forward is run 2 versions. The old version of Plex, the old version of Emby, and then I'll have another machine I can put the new versions on. Get used to the interfaces before I take the plunge and submit it to the family. But I'll tell you something else about Emby. I loaded it up, I handed the remote to my spouse and said, "Here, figure it out." And it was trivial. No problem. Yeah, it's fast. Yeah, it works great. Hey, I can watch my shows on it. Great. That's what it should do. And that's the whole point of this video, is that's what it should do. So you saw how speedy Emby was. Now, collecting your initial guide data and getting all your videos, getting all the metadata for them is what I meant to say, if I could speak, is going to take some time, just like it did with Plex. So just be prepared for that. So would I recommend Emby? Hell yeah, I'd recommend Emby. And now version 3.6 is going to have the guide data built in. We'll see how that goes. If they allow you to have both a live TV antenna guide and a cable guide. It's not something Plex does natively. It is something Emby does with Schedules Direct, but we'll see if that is actually the case with the new version of Emby coming out. And again, I went ahead and loaded Emby on that my gaming PC behind me. If I get my damn finger to work, that one. So I've got Emby for Windows on there, but the main one I'm using is on my Exponology NAS. And that's where I've got Emby running. And don't forget, go to the forums at Emby. They have a whole forum on Synology/Exponology NASs, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So even if you run Exponology, you'll be able to run Emby, and you'll be able to run a version that's been, tweaked performance-wise to run on Exponology. So there you go. I've babbled on long enough. Hopefully you liked the video and you get something out of it. So we hope you found the video entertaining and informative as always. Please give us a thumbs up down below. Leave your comments down in the comments section. If you're inclined to donate, we take PayPal, we take, Patreon. For how much longer? I don't know. As long as I continue to make money off it. So anyway, donate if you're so inclined. And please, don't forget, tell your friends, tell your family. If you like this channel, perhaps they will too. We can always use more subscribers. So don't forget that we'll see you and whoever you send here on the other side.